I'd like to share with you all a simple idea that I had that transformed the way that I see myself as a school leader. And in doing so, I'd like to challenge you to really dig deep and think about how you deliver consequences to the children that you serve. Before I do that, though, we've got to do a little bit of vocabulary. Behavioral psychologists define learning as the process that leads to prolonged behavioral change. So we know a lot about this, actually, and it typically takes one of two forms. The first is called punishment. The technical definition of this is any time that a consequence to our behavior decreases the likelihood of that behavior occurring again. For example, if I ridicule you for talking in class, you will be less likely to talk in my class. The opposite of this course, of course, is reinforcement. This is when any consequence to our behavior increases the likelihood of our behavior. For example, if I tell you that I like your writing, or I tell you that your writing is good, and you respect me and you like me, then you will be more likely to write in the future. These are very basic concepts that we live with and we're embedded in almost to a fault in public schools. They are things that we are very aware of. For example, we live in a system in which learn or you will fail, raise your hand and I will call on you. But I want to make a point here today, right? This is the soapbox moment. That discipline and punishment are not the same thing. Sometimes we say disciplining children. What we really should say is punishing children. Discipline, in my opinion, is something that comes from within. Punishment is something that we do to children from without. Discipline is something that you have. Punishment is something we do. And for that reason, I really firmly believe that punishment is never empowering. Anytime that we punish a child, what we are doing is we are diminishing power. We are taking power away by telling the child that you can't solve your own problem, so I'm going to do this for you. So this was the realization for me, right? Like, holy crap, I have to punish a lot less. In fact, I might have to stop punishing children, and I need to reinforce a whole lot more. Now, this is tricky for a school administrator who only has a certain amount of tools, but I need you to trust me and understand that I'm not crazy, right? I'm not suggesting to you that what we need to do is eliminate all natural consequences from the school environment. I think the opposite is true, that kids have to experience their consequences. And I'm also not suggesting that we hand out lollipops every day. What I'm saying to you is that there's an easy trick, right? And don't over-apply this, but there is a trick. If we take the word until, a very simple word, and add it to what seems to be a very traditional punishment, we can actually turn it into a reinforcement by refocusing the learner's attention onto what they should do instead of what they did. Some examples. The traditional statement, you have detention. Typically when we assign a detention, we want the child to stop doing something. For example, if Billy hits Sally, I assign him detention because I don't want him to hit Sally anymore. Let's change this just a little bit. You have detention until we discuss your plan. What you've done is you've changed the focus on, hey, you did this, and I don't want you to do it again, to, hey, you did this, you have to fix it. This statement in and of itself is empowering because the child has an avenue and a plan to fix this. And they have detention until they do have a plan. Another example, shut down your computer. Something that happens quite frequently in a NTAC school. Let's say they're on a social media site and they're distracting others. We might say, shut down your computer. It is punishment because it is designed to stop behavior. Let's change this one as well. Shut down your computer until we can talk later. What you've done is you've turned this traditional punishment, the decreasing of behavior, into something that actually increases behavior because now the child is focused on talking to you later. The child will be more likely to talk to you about what happened in the future. And after all, isn't this what we're here for, right? Taking the focus off of you, the jerk that just told me to shut off my computer, or the jerk that just gave me a detention, and focusing instead on the learner, the person whose job it is to figure out their plan and navigate their life. So when we, as educators, think about what our job is in modeling instruction, in forming curricula that kids can live with. Let's think hard about the discipline policies that we have in our school and only focus on the pro-social behavior, trying to de-emphasize the anti-social behavior. Remember, our goal as educators is to empower learners to make decisions in their future. If we are to do that, then we can't just speak it. We can't just have it on the wall. We must live it in everything that we do. If you have conversations with kids and your consequences are about meet with me, let's develop a plan, even for serious things. What is your plan? Asking kids what their next steps are in a behavioral context, then you're building relationships instead of tearing them down. Now, please don't be creepy with this, right? Behavioral modification plans behavior modification period is something that's wrought with overuse, and you can totally get nasty with this. You can give kids unrealistic expectations, so on and so forth. In the end, people, this is what I love. This is what I want. Love the work that you do. If at any time in your work you're issuing a consequence to a child that you don't feel good about in your soul, if you're like, this isn't empowering, stop. Find a colleague, share, regroup, come back. Thank you. I love you.